Hi everyone, and welcome to the Blue Ridge Virtual Governor School informational video for our Iceland trip for summer of 2020. I am Mark Caraway, the director for Blue Ridge Virtual Governor School, and I'm going to walk you through some of the information about the trip and the enrollment process. And I'm going to do that with a presentation. So let's get started on that. So we have done two previous international trips through Blue Ridge, and they have both been great experiences. So we decided to do another for summer of 2020. We surveyed students, and Iceland was the top pick for destinations that we were considering. So a couple of things that I'm going to cover here: our travel history, our partnership with EF Tours, which is the tour provider for this trip, a little bit of information about the tour itself, what's included in the pricing, and how to enroll. So our previous trips have been to China. We took 22 students and staff and family members to China in summer of 2016. We traveled to 3 different cities and locations and had a fantastic time with the cultural experience and the educational opportunities. So that was a great start to our international travel experience in Blue Ridge. This past summer, 2018, we took 17 students, staff, and family members to Ecuador and the Galapagos Islands, and again had a phenomenal educational, travel, cultural experience. Just really good trips. So when we came up with Iceland as our destination for the next trip, we actually shopped a number of tour providers, but we found that EF Tours, who we had traveled with before, had one of the best prices and best itinerary that we could find. We also, having traveled with them before, know that they are very well organized and very good for educational trips such as the ones we want to take to Iceland. So a couple of things about traveling with EF. The first thing to know is that this is an educational trip and not a vacation. And by that I mean that the days are full of different kinds of activities, visiting different sites. They're very fast-paced. A lot of times we're leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning and not getting back until after dinner to the hotel. And we're seeing and doing a lot of things in the time that we have. Usually that's done through bus travel to and from the activities, but if we're close to a particular site from the hotel, we may be walking. There is a lot of walking overall, and this is important for parents and students to know. Generally speaking, we'll walk anywhere from 3 to 5 miles during a normal day of an EF tour. It's not hard walking. There may be a little bit of hiking in some of the spots we go to, but folks can opt out of that if they wish. But for the most part, these, we're getting to and from areas that we want to see. There is some free time built in. It normally comes in towards the end of the week, and then usually at lunchtime. Lunch is usually on your own. Sometimes we'll go, kind of depending on where we are, we'll go to a single spot for the entire group though. Accommodations are that students are usually grouped 2 to 4 students to a room and adults 2 to a room unless there is payment made to the tour company for a private room. EF is a great company in terms of safety and security. Our experience has been that the tour guides are really knowledgeable and very well connected. There's a lot of support for anything that might come up. We've had some small emergencies, a couple of medical things here and there, and every time we've ever had an issue, EF has been fantastic about resolving that issue positively and as quickly as possible. So on this particular trip, as you know, we're going to Iceland. And the trip window for right now is somewhere between June 20th, 2020 and July 4th, 2020. So EF will set up a window such as this, and once we have registered everyone for the trip, they will begin to start working with the tour companies or with the bus companies, the accommodations, the airline flights, and find a specific 7-day window within that time frame that we will be traveling. That 7-day tour will include the time that it takes to get to and from Iceland as well. We probably will not know those specific dates until March of 2020. My experience has been that's kind of the time frame for when they actually resolve everything for dates. So again, parents and students should know that the entire window goes from June 20th to July 4th, but we will find out specific dates as we get closer to the tour. So things that we're going to see and do, we're going to be based out of 2 main areas, Reykjavik and Hvolsvöllur, I believe is how that's pronounced. That's on the southern shore. We'll spend 3 nights in Reykjavik and 2 nights down on the southern shore. And we're going to see a lot in those times. So certainly the capital, Reykjavik, some of the other areas, some of the parks that we're going to see, and the southern shore area and peninsula near Reykjavik are all on the itinerary for the trip. Lots of different kinds of features like waterfalls, geothermal areas, black sand beaches, volcanoes. We'll go to geothermal plants. We're hoping to do a glacier hike as all as part of the itinerary. So again, lots of activities packed in that time that we'll be there. We'll also see the Blue Lagoon, which is a famous hot springs resort area in Iceland. One of the things I like about EF tours is they pack pretty much everything, with a few exceptions, into their tour price. Their airfare, their hotel rooms, all the services provided by tour directors and local tour guides, all of the fees for entry into the different things that we'll go and see while we're there, and breakfast and dinner are provided in that. Also, they do include a global travel protection plan. That's a very good thing to know and to learn more about. You can find out more about that at EF Tours, but that helps to cover things like unexpected reasons to have to cancel or issues that might come up on tour. Things that are not included in their fee are college credit. We've not had anybody take advantage of college credit through our previous trips. But it is possible for students to gain that. They'd have to contact EF directly and make arrangements for what that would look like. We don't expect passport and visa fees, and really don't expect to have baggage fees, as we usually travel pretty light, and that's one of the things we'll work on prior to the trip about how to pack so as to avoid extra luggage. Lunches and snacks, participants do need to pay for those. Spending money, obviously souvenirs, things like that, and then tips usually run from $7 to $10 a day, and those are for the tour director, bus guides, and other tour guides that we work with on the trip. Total price for the EF tour is $3,955 for students. That's the full price. EF is really good about setting up payment plans, biweekly or monthly payment plans, or you can pay in lump sums. So that's for travelers to work out directly with EF. There is a price of $4,305 for adult travelers. We've had some questions about fundraising. EF has a donation page, which is similar to a GoFundMe page, and that's where relatives or friends or organizations can contribute to a traveler for birthdays, holidays, things like that, and that can help offset trip expenses. I want to be clear, though, that Blue Ridge itself does not organize fundraising efforts for our international trips. And it's simply because we don't have the time. We've only got a small central staff, and we're busy running an educational program for over 600 students across 7 counties. So we're pretty tied up most of the time. So we really don't have the time or opportunity to organize fundraising for the trip. If anybody wants to undertake that, parents or students, we're happy to help with communications on that. But we just can't take the lead on organizing those events. We have had some fundraising events organized for prior trips. Generally, they've helped to cover the incidental fees like tips and daily expenses rather than the trip fee itself. But I think if anybody was willing to go into a larger scale fundraising effort, that probably could help offset trip fees. This is the really critical part, signing up. One of the things about this is we've had over 80 people who have indicated interest in this trip. We'd never maxed out a trip before, so we were not aware until that happened that there are actually only 40 slots guaranteed for students and family members for this trip. There may be more slots made available. I'm working with EF to see if we can do that, but there may be limits on flight numbers, accommodations, and the venues that we're going to for our itinerary. So they're working on that, but as of now, the way that we're operating is we can guarantee the first 40 slots, and then anybody additional beyond that will be placed on a waiting list. With that in mind, the first priority for enrollment is going to be given to Blue Ridge students and only Blue Ridge students rather than family members. This is a Blue Ridge student trip, so if we were to sign up family members and that meant another Blue Ridge student somewhere else was not able to go, that'd be a problem for us as a program. This is primarily an educational trip for students. I still believe that many of the family members, or I think pretty much all of the family members who are interested, might be able to go, but we've got to sign up the students who, first as part of this process. One thing I'd like to note is that by signing up and enrolling, what I'm talking about is enrolling directly through EF Tours itself. Blue Ridge does not handle any of the transactional arrangements or the finances for enrolling in the tour. That is all done directly between the traveler and their family and EF Tours. So one thing to keep in mind is if you should sign up and then a couple of months later decide you can't go, we would not be able to do anything in terms of helping with refunds or anything like that, because we do not handle any of the money or financial transactions. Again, that would all be directly dealt with through EF Tours themselves. So the actual process is going to begin this Friday evening. What we're going to do is send out an email to students and to those parents who are interested in the tour. We're going to send that out at 6 p.m. on Friday the 15th. And at that point, we're going to be opening enrollment only to Blue Ridge students rather than family members. Just Blue Ridge students. It'll be students from the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. So that's going to be open for Blue Ridge students for several days until Thursday, February 21st at 4 o'clock. Anybody else who would enroll in that time, if anybody else tries to enroll a family member, they're going to be placed on the waiting list. And the way that'll work is they'll actually be at the end of the waiting list when that is formulated. So we will then open enrollment to everyone at 4 p.m. on Thursday the 21st. And that'll remain open until midnight on Thursday, February 28th. And again, so if you have a student who is interested in going on the trip and family members who are interested in going on the trip, you can enroll the student in this first period, that period of time from the 15th through the 21st, and they're pretty much likely going to have a slot. But anybody that enrolls after that is taking a chance. So please enroll students individually only if you're okay with them going as an individual. I do think, again, that family members are going to be able to accompany students, but we're just not going to know until we're sure. We get more information from EF as to whether the slots above 40 will actually have a shot to go on the trip. So the next steps beyond this, please keep an eye on your student and personal emails that have been given to me for more info about this. For example, if I find out that we do have more slots available, I'll make everybody aware of that immediately. We also will set up, once people are enrolled, we'll set up a group email for those people who are enrolled specifically for the trip, in case anybody wants to communicate about fundraising or other questions you might have of other travelers. I will hold informational meetings both in person, and we'll also broadcast those as online meetings in fall and spring of the next year. In 2019 and 2020, and at those meetings we'll talk about things like passports, packing, planning ahead, travel, how we're going to get to and from the airport, things like that. So please keep an eye out for information on those as well. And then we'll go to Iceland in June, somewhere in late June of 2020. So in the meantime, if you have questions about this process, please contact me. I actually have several emails, so you may have seen an MCARR1 email. That's good. Or this email here, mcaraway@brvgs.k12.va.us, or by phone at 434-989-3972. That's my cell phone. Email generally works best because I'm kind of all over the place with a lot of different schedule things going on, but you're welcome to call me on my cell number as well. So best of luck to everyone with the registration process. I hope this works out well for everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing our enrollees, and we'll again be in communication very soon on Friday with information on how to sign up. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks.